I think we live in interesting times where we've seen startups grow and become, big mammoth unicorns. And globally, if you see, and which is trickling down to India, is the entire valuation game. Valuations are getting a correction. So I think the startup aspect for India right now is getting into the realization mode as to what is happening in the country and globally, and telling the entrepreneurs to not chase valuations but to believe in their product and actually create sales and make their books green. So that is something very interesting that you see happening, and I think entrepreneurs should start focusing on just not growth, but smart growth while keeping their books green. I think one of the major issues that the government has been talking about with the RBI and SEBI is getting an exchange for startups, and which is very, very much required, because ultimately if startups don't get listed within the Indian environment and atmosphere and the markets, we're not gaining out of them. So just to give you example, Flipkart was at one point in time looking to get listed in the US. A lot of startups have already got listed in the US, Make My Trip, Yatra, and so on and so forth, contributing to the GDP of that country. Unfortunately, that problem is still way behind for us, where we don't have an exchange. We don't have a possibility to get listed in the country. So I think that's one of the key challenges for the government, and I think the government should take a keen interest. If the government talks about a 5 trillion economy, let me assure you, that's at least 25% that startups could contribute to the 5 trillion. We were always for large, mid-size and larger enterprises. We always knew that we are not a brand for startups and freelancers. The reason being, India is a very different market globally, and one of the reasons that this WeWork kind of was not able to create impact in India was because globally, for example, in the US, if you see, maximum number of WeWork members are actually freelancers and startups. In India, it's actually a different market because all the businesses that are run around the world, we have all their back office operations, we have large team sizes here. So nobody was actually concentrating on large team sizes and large team size business. That's where we stepped in and we said, okay, fine, let's change the model and look after these guys and these clients, and that's what made us succeed. And that's how we are different from the rest. Another differentiating factor that we were able to get instilled was that we understood what problems these companies had, while in terms of retaining their employees, giving incentives to their employees, creating a great atmosphere for work. So apart from the design, apart from the vibrant workspace, we introduced something called sleeping pods, which are fully air conditioned, 42-inch television screen are inbuilt, and we kind of run Amazon Prime. Then we had frustration zones. We added a gymnasium. We added gourmet meals under 100 rupees by Radisson, which takes care of that. So all these aspects, right from the health to fitness to taking out the frustration and to getting good sleep, is something that we kind of saw was lacking, and we provided such a service to our members. One of the biggest takeaways, and this is something that validates what I envisioned and which I told my investors from day one, is that co-working is not a valuation business. It is a purely cash flow business. And while building this cash flow business, you'll eventually reach valuations. Unlike a technology industry, we unfortunately are technology enabled. We can never be a technology play. So chasing valuations is this business is kind of unheard of, and that's something that we learned from the WeWork scenario also, where SoftBank was trying to create a value for WeWork into the markets, and basically it could not sustain it. And that's one of the biggest takeaways, because at the end of the day, we are a pure play, a real estate play and a real estate arbitrage play, where we are trying to provide a seat as a service and not software as a service. So what we are now looking at is post our funding round, post our everything, the dust settling in the co-working space. I think the people have expanded, they've scaled. It's our time now, and that's what we are working on. So you'll soon hear about a couple of centers that we are looking to launch, and hopefully that will be a start to our scaling and ramping up the industry within India.